Hey guys, really quickly, I actually just recorded the whole video. You're about to watch it, but I forgot to mention there's two things. Number one, Aaron Traylor wrote a report on this team. It's going to be in the comment section in the description down below. So if you want to see his perspective, his marks, and his overall good storytelling, and his story with the team, I recommend you check it out. Number two, we are going to be doing a 24-hour live stream with the team. We're going to be, sorry, not with the team. We're going to be doing a 24-hour live stream of mark hunting, where we hunt for marks. It's going to be super fun. It's going to be horrible. It's going to be the worst thing ever. I do recommend you check it out. I'll have more details coming soon. But yeah, anyway, enjoy the video because I definitely just recorded it, and it's a good video. So, goodbye. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the team that my good friend Aaron Traylor used to win the Dallas Regional Championships. This team was built with myself, Aaron, and our good friend Justin Karras. I'll have links to their Twitters down below, so if you want to follow like two of the best players in the game, I really recommend you follow them. Yeah, so go check them out. Again, Justin and I each finished 7 wins and 3 losses. We were both 1 win away. Aaron made it through the first day, or 1 win away from moving on to the second day, excuse me. Aaron made it through the first day with 8 wins and 2 losses. One of those losses was actually to Justin. They had to play on stream in a perfect mirror match, so that was a little lame, but Aaron made it moving on, so he only lost to 1 person other than the team itself in the whole tournament, which is super impressive. Played out of his mind and won the entire thing. This was the biggest regional, maybe the biggest tournament I've ever been a part of. I think there might have been a bigger one back in 2010. I don't think it was the biggest tournament ever, but it was pretty close. We hit capacity. There was almost 600 players there. And overall, it's a big accomplishment to do so well, and I'm really happy with the team. I think, it was a long day. I think both Justin and I suffered from fatigue, but the team was not really the problem for the most part. I think it's a super, super solid team. So, with all that being said, I'll talk about it more in depth. Here's the rental code if you want to use it. I'll go through the individual mons. And just while we're getting there, I do want to say, guys, thank you for all the support. Again, if you have not already, please subscribe. We're going to do a Dracovish cosplay at 200k. We also have a goal for Joey, a tournament with Joe, or our series with Joey at 175k if we can get there before we get into Master Ball. We are moving rather quickly. I don't know when I'm going to post this one, but yeah. So, with all that being said, please subscribe, please like the video if you want to see more team reports from me. This is a serious tournament team. This is my first tournament team that I'm showcasing on the channel because it's the first tournament I've played in. And yeah, with all that being said, let's just go ahead and jump into it. So, first of all, the important thing to note about this team is the marks. So, Togekiss had super luck, therefore we couldn't catch it. For that reason, we had to use ribbons, not marks. So, Togekiss was best friend ribbon, meaning the name with the ribbon is bad friend, the great friend. I like that one a lot. In terms of the moves, Follow Me, Yawn, Helping Hand, and Dazzling Gleam. Togekiss was here mainly for support. Togekiss was actually, I probably shouldn't have started with Togekiss because honestly it was the Pokemon I intended to bring the least in the tournament. Togekiss probably could have been something else, although, well, that's what I thought going into the tournament. In the end, it ended up being actually pretty good, especially for Aaron's top cut games. It's very good against Grimmsnarl, and there was a lot of Grimmsnarl. Maybe I should do this way, actually. Let's start with the way that this built. So, let's start with Duraludon, actually, because that was kind of the starting point of this team, was Duraludon. So, Duraludon is the Tower Master, aka his name is Elevator, the Tower Master, when you send him out in battle. Although I guess, yeah, it is male. Duraludon, this was an idea of Aaron Traylor. He said early on in the format, when we started working together, he said, hey, Duraludon is good. And I was like, hey, Duraludon is bad. Its special defense stat is like, it's based like 50 special defense or something horrible. It has no special defense. And he was like, no. Fast Life Orb. Like, and I was like, what's the point of a steel type without resistances? Or without special defense? Like, you waste your resistances, basically. And he said, hey, we're not playing it like a steel type. Like, don't think of it like a steel type. And I was like, oh. And when you don't think of it like a steel type, it's actually quite good. So this is Timid. Max speed, max special attack, 4 special defense is the spread on this on Elevator here. Moves: Protect, Flash Cannon, Thunderbolt, and Draco Meteor. Based on the way the team played, I didn't want Dark Pulse. I didn't want Steel Beam. I really liked Protect. That was a very important choice on Elevator. Hatchet, Timid, and yeah, Tower Master Ribbon. I didn't want to repeat ribbons personally. I know Aaron had a couple of repeats, but yeah. Duraludon was started with this team. We actually started with, and now we can talk about Togekiss. Duraludon, Togekiss, Conkeldurr was the Pokemon we started with originally. So the thing about Duraludon is that its ability is Stalwart, right? Stalwart lets you ignore redirection, which is very good in this format. There's so much Togekiss, there's some Indeedee. It also ignores Ally Switch, which is very, very useful. If you target a Pokemon, you target the left slot, and they use Ally Switch, your attack will still be going into the Pokemon you originally targeted, which is huge. The ability to ignore redirection, the relatively high base speed, and the good special attack, especially when you Dynamax, makes Duraludon actually pretty good offensively when you boost your Flash Cannon and Thunderbolt significantly by about 1.5 times, and then Draco Meteor gets a slight boost, and you double your bulk, which compensates for the low special defense. Pairs very well with Togekiss. That was the starting point here. Because it's really hard to hit Duraludon when you have Follow Me Togekiss next to it, and you also have the option for Helping Hand. So, like, Helping Hand Max Lightning KOs bulky water types like Milotic or Jellicent, if they EV for regular Life Orb Max Lightning. Helping Hand Max Draco KOs most other Duraludon, like, even in max form, unless they're, like, super bulky Assault Vest, I think. I'm not positive about that one, but it does a ton of damage. Yeah, so Togekiss was initially here to help Duraludon. We really like Duraludon Togekiss because we are running into trouble with, like, Dragapult Togekiss, and Duraludon Togekiss is really, really good at stopping Dragapult Togekiss because you can't hit Duraludon easily. Yeah, Babbery Berry was the item on Togekiss. Babbery Berry is pretty good because it basically increases Togekiss' survivability. You really want Togekiss to be hanging around as long as possible for the most part because in the worst case scenario, you can always just, follow me. Not a big deal there. Yeah, Helping Hand was I really liked with Duraludon, especially as Fake Out picked up in usage, because you can Helping Hand before opponents will Fake Out. So if I was running into a Grimmsnarl and I expected Fake Out turn 1, I would sometimes just Helping Hand, just get that extra damage off. And I don't really think on this Togekiss I really didn't use Dazzling Gleam very often. It's not too fast either, so I didn't want like Air Slash or Heat Wave or anything. Yawn is really good against slower teams, or like if against like Arcanine, for example, it's very good. I didn't like there was a part of me I had Safeguard over Yawn at some point, but I didn't end up actually liking it very much. I kind of in the end decided like I'm gonna use Duraludon with Max Lightning to deal with Sleep, and versus Paralysis I'll use Togekiss Follow Me and just hope that I can KO like Grimmsnarl and Raichu before it does too much damage. In the end, I think I would have liked more for status, but I do think that was a solid plan. In terms of the EVs, it was our Togekiss had this is a little slightly stronger than it should be. Our Togekiss was we actually put a good bit of speed into. We outsped Adamant T-Tar at neutral, and we outsped some Duraludon that were slower as well, and other Togekiss. This didn't come into play too much for me, but in Aaron's top 4 set, he won a game because he was able to get a Yawn off before an opposing Togekiss KO'd him, and that was pretty crucial. So I'm really glad we put the speed in the end. I never really felt like I was lacking bulk or I had too much bulk. I felt like the bulk was about fine. But yeah, I feel like Togekiss spread isn't too optimized. It was mostly health, defense, and then speed with 4 special attack, 4 special defense, with a bold nature. So yeah, super luck because so you don't want hustle obviously, and we didn't have anything that was Serene Grace boosting. So yeah, the next Pokemon we added was actually No New Friends, the Conkeldurr. No, his nickname is No New Friends because his mark is the Recluse mark. This thing took me over 150 Timber. Like it took me so many Timber. Oh, thank you, Matt. Hey, Maxwell 2015, thank you very much for the sub. Sorry, I forgot I still was in my streaming overlay. Let's turn that off. Let's turn the jar off. So, actually, I want to show you guys how much I suffered. I don't want to talk about Frillish either. Stayed up until 3 a.m. mark hunting Frillish. Let's take a look at it. Let's take a look at Mahodex. Let's take a look at. Just go ahead and find stupid Timber. Not to mention I caught a couple Girder too before I realized Timber was better. How many did I counter? How many did this take me? 143. 143 Timber to get this thing. Yeah, 143 Timber to get this mark. I got a couple other marks as well, none that I really liked, so I did stick with Recluse, and Recluse is the rarest mark, so I was happy to get it after my 143 long mark hunt, which was pretty miserable. So yeah, it's No New Friends, the Recluse. He doesn't like making friends. Let's take a look at his stuff. So okay, Assault Vest is the first thing you want to note. I really like Assault Vest Conkeldurr. It becomes extremely bulky. It makes sense with the moves that we used as well. So, yeah, I thought about Flame Orb because you get much more power, but in the end, I think Assault Vest was the right choice. Conkeldurr has 4 move slot syndrome. It wants a lot of moves and can't have all of them. So, you kind of have to pick and choose with like what you're going to be good at and what you're going to be bad at. I like Assault Vest Conkeldurr. I really like it with Guts. A lot of people were like, why didn't you use Iron Fist? And the reason is that, the insurance against Burn, like, so this team is 5 special attackers, and Conkeldurr with Guts, so Burn is, like, a totally useless status condition against it, which I really liked. And Guts is just, like, even though I don't have any way of self-burning, like, or self-statusing at all, it's just a nice insurance to have, and it's a nice deterrent for people who try and burn you and Thunder Wave you. I got burned a lot in practice. In tournament, nobody really did it to me. But that's okay. It was still good insurance, and maybe it came up for Aaron or Justin. I think Aaron Aaron, I think, lost a set. Yeah, because his opponent accidentally Thunder Waved just Conkeldurr, and then he got full parried, but if he hadn't been full parried, he would have won. So, this might look a little weird. Triple Fighting and Rock Slide. initially we had close combat, Mach Punch, Rock Slide, and high horsepower, or Thunder Punch, high horsepower. That's what we started off with. I identified pretty early on that like I really like to solve this Conkeldurr with close combat. Close combat is so incredibly strong. It's really powerful, and I think people are kind of sleeping on how much damage it can do. In the end, I found myself really never using high horsepower, like, because most of the things you'd high horsepower, you're just close combat anyway. It's actually, close combat is stronger than super effective high horsepower, so you don't really want to use it. Or maybe it's like, its expected value is lower, like, or is higher, because high horsepower is like slightly stronger, but can miss, and close combat doesn't miss, so it's like roughly the same. So I was like, and I found myself, like, there were times where I really didn't want to drop my defenses, like, in a Conkeldurr endgame, where I had, like, you know, Conkeldurr and something else against 2, 3, or 4 Pokemon, and, like, Conkeldurr could beat it, could outlast things, but it would drop its defenses and then lose, so I was really torn. I kind of wanted Ice Punch, I kind of wanted Payback for Dragapult. I knew I wanted to, like, have moves to hit Flying-type Pokemon, and Dragapult too. In the end, I settled on Drain Punch. It was the right choice. I really like triple fighting Conkeldurr. Mach Punch is essential. It's so good against Tyranitar, Excadrill, and picking things off that have Focus Sash, Butterfree, Whimsicott. Like, it's very good there. Rock Slide, I almost dropped the night before the tournament. I almost changed it to Ice Punch. I'm glad I kept Rock Slide. I did almost win a game by double flinching. Let's go Conkeldurr. I did lose the game anyway, but not because of Conkeldurr, because of me. Rock Slide's nice. It's not that strong is the real problem. The real reason I had Rock Slide on here is because I was a little worried about opposing Charizard Whimsicott, and let's talk about the EVs. So this Conkeldurr is adamant. I know it doesn't say adamant because I caught it and had to mint it. Spent a lot of BP on this team, I'll tell you that much. But yeah, I was a little worried about opposing Charizard, so the EVs here, they let Conkeldurr survive Life Orb, Max Airstream off of Timid Air Slash from Charizard in the Sun in Dynamax form. So that's what it did with Solar Power. So if you Dynamax Conkeldurr, excuse me, that's only if you Dynamax. Or it was Modest Air Slash and Timid Hurricane. And I figured, like, I wasn't going to run into Modest Hurricane with Life Orb and Solar Power. I actually don't think I played a Charizard, so yeah. So yeah, I think it's like, if I recall off the top of my head, it's like 220 attack, 28 speed, like 156 HP, and 100 special defense, somewhere around there. That's like roughly the spread. You guys can plug it in for yourselves. The full team is in the sub Discord as well, so if you want to like get the export easily, or if you want to get my teams in advance, like, it's been in there for a few days at this point. So yeah, so that's Conkeldurr's spread. Like I said, yeah, Conkeldurr was overall great Pokemon. I really liked it. I think the move choice was good. Rock Slide was a little weak in terms of damage output, but I don't think I could have. I was glad to have it. I really was glad to have it. Although Ice Punch would have been better in some situations. Rock Slide Water Spout is also really good. Oh, we also put a little bit in speed to outspeed, like, Excadrill, Adamant Nature, and Duraludon with Modest Nature. Like, you outspeed a couple things with Conkeldurr here. You also outspeed other Conkeldurr, which is really nice because you can Drain Punch them, and then if they, like, you can move first, which means you should win. Basically, moving first lets you beat other Conkeldurr because they close combat and drop their defenses, and then you KO in return with your own close combat. So yeah. The next Pokemon we added were kind of in tandem. We added Whimsicott and Charizard together. So I do want to shout out Justin Ramirez. He was working with Justin Karras, and they came up with Charm Whimsicott. We, like, obviously Talon, Moonblast, and Fake Tears were pretty standard at this point, but Charm is a really cool tech. I didn't actually use it that much in tournament, but I'm glad I had it. This is another move that I thought could have been Safeguard, but the thing is, like, I didn't really love bringing Whimsicott against Grimmsnarl because I didn't love getting Fake Outed turn 1. And so, yeah, I feel like Charm is really good at shutting down, like, Excadrill and Rhyperior. The Prankster is nice. It's not good against Tyranitar because you can't, like, do anything with it. But yeah, basically, Whimsicott is a really solid Pokemon. I named it Fern because its mark is the Stern. So its name is Fern the Stern, which I'm happy with personally. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Yeah, so I got Fern the Stern. Aaron's Whimsicott is the Furious. So his team is the Fast and the Furious. Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry. So Aaron, I believe by the time I'm posting this video, he hasn't written it at time of recording, but by the time I'm posting it, Aaron will have published a full team report. So I'll be linking that down below as well. I'm sorry, Aaron. I totally forgot. But yeah, anyway. So this is Whimsicott. It's Prankster. It's Focus Sash, I think is obvious. I put max HP, max special attack, and 4 in HP. No reason to do anything fancy here. Tailwind, Moonblast, Fake Tears, and Charm. This thing is pure support. It Fake Tears supports, as you might notice, as I mentioned actually, Conkeldurr is the only physical attacker on this team. So Whimsicott's Fake Tears really powers up Charizard, Elevator, and Jellicent, which you bring with it pretty frequently. Tailwind is really nice. I really wanted speed control on this team. I thought there was a lot of teams that just kind of folded if you could get speed control. Yeah, moves are pretty self-explanatory. Tailwind, Moonblast, Tailwind, like I mentioned, Fake Tears, like I mentioned, Moonblast is the best move if you're going to have one attack on Whimsicott. I didn't really feel like I needed Energy Ball. I had Solar Beam on Charizard if I really wanted to hit grass types, and the support moves are too good. The ability to have a chance to Oko Dragapult as well, or just Chunk Dragapult, is also really good. Whimsicott actually won me a 1 versus 1 with Snorlax, where I had dropped special attack, but I was able to like fake tears at once, and then we got in this like Moonblast versus Recycle War, and it was a weird end game. But basically, offensive Whimsicott was able to win me the game, or like max special attack Whimsicott was able to win me the game, which is super good. Yeah, and then like I mentioned, Charm didn't come up that often, but can create like Charm is amazing versus physical Dynamax Pokemon. If the opponent Dynamaxes an Excadrill, you get a Charm off. You've kind of wasted their Dynamax, you know, like you've significantly reduced their damage output, which is really good. Next up we have, and this is probably the Pokemon that people are most interested about, Gigantamax Charizard. So, Charizard has been kind of slept on, in my opinion. First of all, obviously, Champion Time, the Galar Champion. I like that one a lot. Charizard's been a little slept on, I'll be honest. It's a Pokemon that, you know, people were like, oh, you can't have Solar Power with it, so all the Charizard that I saw were Dynamax Charizard. And the reason for that is that Dynamax Charizard has access to Solar Power. And... oh, it's probably too quiet for you guys. Hang on, let me turn the volume up. Really didn't realize it was so quiet. It's too loud. It's probably too loud. We're doing it live. Test. It's probably a little better. I realize you probably wanted a little bit of audio. Anyway, so Charizard is a Pokemon that I was really excited to use. Aaron, we were talking about what could work in the 5th and 6th slots here, because we knew we had something solid, right? We knew we had Whimsicott. We actually had Dragapult originally in one of these slots, but like I knew I liked Whimsicott. I knew I liked Duraludon. I knew I liked Conkeldurr. That's where we were starting, and Togekiss was like overall good as well. And like Togekiss was in and off this team, but yeah, we had Togekiss. Dragapult was originally the last slot. We had Dusclops at some point. Traylor suggested, he was like, what about Charizard? And I was like, I don't love Charizard. But then I was like, wait, what about Charkyberry Charizard? And Aaron was like, yeah, Aaron and Justin were like, well, maybe. So the thing about Charizard is that it does so much damage. It does so much damage. With the passive effect of Gmax Wildfire. So the way that Gmax Wildfire works is it sets Gmax Wildfire on the opposite side of the field, and it does 1/6 damage on each Pokemon for 4 turns, which is a total of 66% on each slot, for a total of like 133% of the team's total health. It does if no Dynamax, you know, no recovery, and like no fire types and no knockouts, the passive effect does 1/3 of a team's health in over 4 turns, which is ridiculous. Like the amount of passive damage you're doing with Gmax Wildfire is actually insane, and I wish I could. If you haven't seen it, like it's really hard to comprehend. That passive effect alone makes Gmax Charizard worth using. In its Gigantamax form, it's actually pretty bulky, and with Fake Tears Whimsicott, even though it lacks the immediate power of Sunny Day Charizard with Solar Power, it's still extremely powerful. Max Flying is one of the best max moves that lets you raise your speed of you and your partner. That's very handy, especially with like Duraludon and sometimes Jellicent, depending on what they have. Max Grass didn't come into play that often, but you needed it to keep people honest. I OHKO'd Jellicent with Fake Tears Max Grass, so it is important, I think. And now and Protect, obviously, I considered running Dragon Pulse. Protect is definitely the right move. Now the weird move, Blast Burn. You might be thinking, well, isn't Blast Burn worse than Heat Wave? Isn't Blast Burn worse than Overheat? The calcs that you get with Blast Burn are significant. Like, there are things that you miss out on. Like, some Togekiss can survive, like, some common Togekiss will survive, like, Fake Tears into Max Heat Wave or Max Overheat. They don't survive those, like things that will sometimes survive Max Overheat don't survive Max Blast Burn when it comes to Fake Tears. The damage output is significant, and I cannot stress that enough. Also, I figured, like, how many times are you really attacking out of Dynamax form with Charizard? Like, because if it's not going to be more than, if it's going to be once, Blast Burn's better than Overheat anyway, right? Like, if you intended to just get KO'd after your Dynamax ended, like, you may as well just use Blast Burn, because it's, like, stronger, right? It's actually a good bit stronger than Overheat. And, yeah, and if you attack more than once, like, I don't know, like, Overheat drop, like, Heat Wave was really never on the table, because it just does, like, no damage. Really does no damage. And yeah, overall, I don't know, like, I just felt like Blast Burn was, I knew in my heart that Blast Burn was the right choice, and then in practice, like, after every round, my friends and I would be like, yeah, like, I'm really glad we have Blast Burn, like, it does so much damage, like, Charizard's ridiculous, like, Justin, Aaron, and I in between rounds. So, this is Timid Charizard. Unfortunately, it's 31 attack IV, but I wanted a shiny one, so, that was the one I had. shout out to Dr. Octolocto. Make sure it's my name right. Dr. Oktoberfest, excuse me. His name of my server, I think, is Dr. Octolocto. But yeah, Dr. Oktoberfest for helping me with Charizard. He had a den for it, so yeah, shoutouts to him. Max speed, max special attack, and then 4 defense. You don't live some rock-type moves, like Durant, for example, to roll to KO you with max Rockfall with Life Orb. Some people ask me, like, why didn't you EV for that? And the reason is, like, you can't afford to drop special attack or speed, so you just have to get the roll or play around it. And lastly, we have Jellicent. One fear, because I am afraid of Jellicent, and I talked about this in the WB video. One fear, the Mistdrifter, my Mistdrifting Jellicent. So, Jellicent we added, I think, on Wednesday or Thursday. I definitely stayed up until 3 in the morning, Thursday night, hunting for Jellicent. I think it was Wednesday, actually, because I hunted some on Wednesday, too. Jellicent was really good. It's actually modest, and this was, I want to shout out Aaron, because I don't remember if Justin, Aaron, or I actually suggested Jellicent, but in the end, I feel like I wanted to use Scald. Move choice is really important here. I was like, I'm going to run Scald or Will-O-Wisp plus Shadow Ball, Strength Sap, and Trick Room. Aaron was like, no, Water Spout. And I was like, nah, I don't know about Water Spout. Like, I kind of want Scald or Will-O-Wisp. And he was like, dude, trust me, we're gonna run Water Spout. And I tested it, and I was like, oh, we're gonna run Water Spout. It's very, very good. Yeah. So, Strength Sap is amazing. It lets you pretty much 1 versus 1, like Mudsdale or Rhyperior or Conkeldurr. Like, there's a lot of Pokemon that just really don't like getting Strength Sap, and the fact that it works as a drop as well as health recovery is really nice. I was on stream the other day, and I had 1 HP with my Jellicent. I Strength Sapped a Mudsdale. I got back all the way to full, and it's like, it can be really, really busted. So let's talk about Jellicent. Curse Body is so good. I would never run Water Absorb Jellicent in my life unless I was running like Surf with as like a partner. Curse Body is amazing. Like, it won me a set on its own. Like, it can just like pretty much single-handedly win you games. And it's never gonna hurt you, you know? It's never like, oh no, I disabled an attack. Like, it only makes things easier for you, and can give you win conditions, like, when you might not otherwise have one. For example, like, I don't know. I don't really need to get into examples, but, yeah, it's very, very, very good. Like, well, yeah, like, if a Pokemon is, like, Snorlax, right? And, like, they don't want a Belly Drum, and they, you know, or the Pokemon needs, like, let's say Mimikyu uses Shadow Sneak, and, like, it needs Shadow Sneak to KO your partner next turn, and, like, you Curse Body it. Like, it has a 30% rate of activation, which is huge. Caseberry was the right choice. Caseberry lets you take Ghost-type attacks better. Came into play a lot in the tournament. Yeah, Caseberry is super, super good, and I think kind of slept on. As an item. Maybe not slept on, but I think people were surprised to see Caseberry, and in my opinion, it is the best item for it. Curse Body, like I mentioned, this is modest. The spread, I gave it enough special attack to Oko Excadrill and put the rest in bulk, I think. Aaron said he wanted more defense, or more special attack instead of defense. I kind of like the defense. You needed to live, this like spread lives Life Orb Max Quake from Adamant Excadrill. It takes a couple attacks, takes Crunch from Tyranitar. I think it still lives Life Orb Timid Max Lightning from Duraludon, though I'm not positive about that because we added it kind of last minute. Strength Sap, like I mentioned, really good. Water Spout, like I mentioned, incredible. Shadow Ball, really strong as well, good for Dragapult, just good for consistent damage. And then Trick Room, this isn't a Trick Room team, but we use Jellicent both to counter the Trick Room matchup and against other offensive teams, because oftentimes you could bring Jellicent Conkeldurr in the back, or if your Pokemon got paralyzed, or if they had Tailwind up, Trick Room gave you an option to make Jellicent move first, which with Strength Sap and Water Spout and Shadow Ball could be really nice. I did it again. Oops. And yeah, I think those are all small. So in terms of like contribution, I feel like Justin helped us with Whimsicott. He figured out that Whimsicott Duraludon was super strong. I suggested Conkeldurr. I think we kind of were all sold on Togekiss. Justin helped figure out the specific moves because I wanted Safeguard. He was like, you need Leon, and then Aaron, I think we kind of all were on Jellicent, and then Aaron suggested Duraludon, and then Aaron and I figured out the Charizard. So I think the team was super good, and I'm really happy that it won regionals. It's really cool to be like part of the team that built the team that won, you know, the biggest regional in my entire career, and I'm super happy for Aaron because he's such a nice guy and really deserving of the win. So yeah, like I said, rental team at the beginning of the video, check out Aaron's report. I'll have that in the comment section down below, as well as their Twitter handles, so you can check them out. And I think that's it. I hope you guys liked my marks. If I had more time, I would have hunted for maybe a different mark on Jellicent, but what else did I get on Jellicent? I traded a sociable one away. What else did I get? I got Sleepy Time. Yeah, I got Frillish the Sleepy, but I didn't like it because I didn't want my Jellicent to take a nap. And then Frillish the Early Riser I didn't like, and then yeah, I didn't really like Early Riser Frillishes. It's Early Riser because I was hunting at 3 in the morning, by the way. Yeah. As you can see, we originally had Milotic on this team at some point, and we had Dragapult at some point, so I did get Dragapult the Thunderstruck, which is super cool. I got Dracloak the Recluse and Dracloak the Thunderstruck, so I really like both those marks for Dragapult. So catch me with some nice marked Dragapults in the future. I should have talked about this at the beginning. The last thing I'll say, we're going to be doing a 24-hour mark hunting stream, mark hunting live stream. I said that if Aaron, Justin, or I won, we would do it. They're coming down to stream with me, so more details coming soon. I'll talk about it. I'll talk about it more in the near future, but yeah, I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the team, and I'll see you later. Peace.